Here's one last thing which just amazes me. You and I not only have too many choices and too much debt often, but our very culture teaches us to be in a hurry. Let me just read you from the newspaper again, okay? America's the land of the rushed, is a commentator in USA Today. In fact, we have proudly defined our American lifestyle as life in the fast lane. Right? You ever heard someone say, they're in the fast lane. We construct more and more passing lanes so we can get around those pokey schmokies that are in the former passing lane. Remember, it used to be the slow lane and then the fast lane. But now we put more lanes over here so we can get around the people in the fast lane faster, you know? We are proudly a country of out-of-breath, red-faced folks racing around with our hair permanently blowing back, if you have hair. You know, we have a little car with the moon roof or whatever, the one that opens, and everybody's hair is blowing, and they say, "Daddy, it's blowing our hair." I say, "It's not blowing mine," you know. But that's how our society is. Even our sentences are peppered with such words as time crunch, fast food, rush hour, frequent flyer, expressway, overnight delivery, rapid transit. In fact, we send packages by FedEx. You know, you don't want to send them by mail. It's too slow. We use long-distance companies called Sprint, right? We want to call faster. We manage our personal finances on Quicken, right? We want to do it faster. We schedule our appointments on a day runner, right? Which subtly gets us going faster. We diet with slim fast. Yeah, we don't want to be fat very long. We want to be slim fast. See, not biblical fasting, but get slim fast. And we even swim in trunks made by Speedo. But Isaiah 58, verses 13 and 14 tell us about a world God designed. Now, we are on this side of the cross, thankfully. I am so glad to be on this side of the cross than on that side. But on this side of the cross, we have the benefit of the Spirit of God to show us what God was trying to teach those people on the other side of the cross. And we can profit immensely from looking back with the eyes of grace at the old covenant. Here's what God says in Isaiah 58, 13. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath. What was the Sabbath? The Sabbath was a God-designed system that all of Israel stop everything once a week. Now think about it. Everything stopped. Everything. Gathering, grinding, even major cooking, farming stopped. Everything stopped. Even harvesting. I mean, you ever worked in a rural place? Well, they got to get the crops in. It might rain. Well, who sends the rain? You know, see, God says, "Hey, if you'll just obey me, everything will work out." But God designed a system for Israel with a Sabbath, which is the word rest. And He said, I want you to stop once a week everything. Turn all the motors, turn the generators off, stop, put it in park, and stop, not idling, ready to go. Just stop. Every seventh day, every seventh month, every seventh year, 3 times a year, you're not only supposed to stop, you were supposed to walk to Jerusalem. 3 times a year from the furthest parts of Israel. Your whole family had to get ready. You had to leave the family farm and you had to walk to Jerusalem and worship God as a family. The whole way down, you're supposed to read the Psalms of Ascent, 15 of them, and stop. Can you imagine parking your car by the highway and reading a whole psalm? Everybody would be driving by you. The police would stop, put a tag on your car. You don't stop. See, we don't know how to stop. But God says, I want you to go to Jerusalem and I want you to worship me for the Passover unleavened bread, which was a week, for the whole harvest, which we call Pentecost, which was for another week, and then finally for the Feast of Tabernacles, which was another week. And He says, I want you to take those weeks and those days and the 7th month and the 7th year and the 49th and the 50th year. If you read the Bible, boy, those people had more time off than European socialists. And God said, I would bless you. But look what he says. If you turn away your foot, don't trample on my desire to slow your life down. And if you stop doing your pleasure on my holy day. I don't know about you, but Sunday is certainly not a rest day for me. And probably it's not for you. I mean, you have to work between doing your Sunday school lesson and working in the nursery and working in children's church and helping with the youth and getting the kids there and getting them back. And then you have to sit through the message. You know what I mean? It's really hard. And it's not a rest day. And so certainly it's not for me as a pastor. I mean, I leave the house about 7:30 and I get back at 1:30 and I leave again at maybe 4:30 and I get back at 9:30. I mean, it's a long day. But we need to have a quiet time in our life. Call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable. If you honor him, not doing your own ways, not finding your own pleasure, not speaking your own words, in other words, get into his word. Verse 14, then you'll delight yourself in the Lord. Kind of what Paul was talking about with all these books. And I will cause you to ride on the high hills of the earth. God says, if you'll just slow down and stop and get your nose before my face, and get your heart in my presence. He says, I'll let you ride on the high places of the earth. A while back, I took my family up. I was speaking somewhere up in the Northwest. And I remember Johnny and Estelle and I were in a boat getting crabs with a doctor friend of mine. And as we were pulling the crabs out of the crab pot in the Puget Sound, the boat slowly turned like this, and it was pointing over there, and I said, Dick, what is that? It was like a shopping mall. He said, that's Bill Gates' new house. And I just sat there while the kids, I mean, they didn't really at that point know who Bill Gates was, and I just sat there and looked at his new house. It really does look like a mall. I mean, it's huge. And I sat there meditating on the fact that man, the world's wealthiest man, the guy that has the ultimate computer. Can you imagine his computer, you know? I mean, he has stuff you guys haven't even heard about yet. But can he possibly be happy apart from God? He has it all. And I'll tell you what, all he has is going to stay right here. And I'm not sure where he's going. If you know anything about his spiritual life, up until last year it was nil. I haven't heard any new report. God says, if you'll follow me without a shopping mall house, without the biggest corporation in the world, I will let you ride on the high hills of the earth. I'll feed you with the heritage of Jacob, the mouth of the Lord has spoken. You know what God says? You follow me, you'll have it all.